Hello, welcome to the abandoned mining town of Cerro Gordo. My name is Brent, and I have been calling this ghost town home for almost 4 years now. I'm up here trying to bring life back to the place, meaning restore some of the cabins, explore the abandoned mines, and just learn everything that I can about the history here. In this past month, a lot has happened. We made huge progress on a hotel that we were building just over there. I brought internet 900 feet underground into an abandoned mine. I found some gold, and I probably have the biggest announcement that I've had in the past 3 years. It's a very exciting month, so let's get into it all. So it has been almost 4 years that I've been living up here at Cerro Gordo. And it all started right there. Back in March of 2020, I drove my little truck up, I got stuck in the snow, I walked into town, and I haven't left since. And I think some days, day over day, it's hard to see the progress here. But walking up the road, it all starts to click. I remember the hundreds of day projects that have happened over the last couple of years, whether it's putting in a new parking lot, or putting axles on the Jeep, digging for bottles over there, but also the bigger projects. The hotel now has a second floor. There's a tank beyond that. And I think of just all the people that helped make that happen. And I get excited, because this used to be a mining boom town. There used to be 4,000 residents, hundreds of buildings. The mine was going 24 hours a day, and the newspapers report a murder a week. And it was grim, but it was alive. There was a heartbeat here. And I think when I came here in March of 2020, it was a shell of that. And over the past few years, we don't have hundreds of buildings. There aren't thousands of residents, but this town definitely has a heartbeat again. And it's really exciting. And so with that, let's get into everything that happened this last month to help bring that heartbeat back. All right, so right away behind me, you see one of the biggest updates over the past month or so, both literally and metaphorically, is the American Hotel has a second floor and has the beginning of a roof. This is a very emotional project for me. About 3 years ago now, we lost the original American Hotel to an electrical fire. And since then, I've spent pretty much every day dedicated, focused, obsessed even with rebuilding this hotel. And standing here now is pretty emotional. It might not look like a ton, but I remember, standing right here and mixing by hand 1,500 bags of concrete with some volunteers to go into the wall of these blocks, or how many trips in the 5-ton military truck it took to get all these blocks up here, or sitting up there with Dave Sparks and mixing 80 yards of concrete to go into the footers that you can't even see anymore. So every bit of this has been difficult. Almost as difficult as it can be, combined with the emotional weight of losing a building that you care about and the rebuilding of it. And now seeing this just feels like significant progress. As I walk in here now, it actually feels like a building. And looking out and looking at the lumber, I just remember how many runs up this 8-mile dirt road had to happen to get all this material here. It's not like we're building in LA, we're building on the top of a mountain at the end of an 8-mile dirt road, already in the middle of nowhere. So every bit that you see up here, I feel like has been hand-loaded into a truck at once upon a time and gotten up here. And as we go upstairs, this is where the majority of the progress has been happening over the last month. Right now we're on a huge race because we need to get this building enclosed before winter, and winter can hit pretty much any day now, and we cannot have this exposed to the elements. So we need to get those rafters on, and we need to get a roof on this thing, hopefully some windows in, and hopefully get this thing sealed in so we can continue working through the winter. But as you can see, Kyle and his helper Andrew have been doing a lot of work over the past month.
We're framing our second floor. Finally, we're back up here after the road got fixed after the storm. We got our first kind of far outside wall. That's our staircase wall right there. And now this, the first of the main part of the second floor with all the guest rooms. It's about to, we got a few more things to do, and then we're gonna sheet it.
Yep.
Get it stood.
Man, that's cool. So all at once?
All at once.
We get the drone.
73 feet.
You know, this project has been the top priority for me over the past 3 years. You know, it's taken priority over, you know, my physical health, my mental health, my financial health, lots of different things over the last couple of years. But to see it kind of start to take form feels like there is some type of finish line in place, that we're not just doing this like act of pushing the rock up the mountain over and over again. That's exciting to me. You know, it's been some very difficult times, you know, starting with losing the hotel, to the struggles of getting the concrete, to the struggles of getting materials up here, to the brutal winters that have put us far behind. And so to finally see it starting to take shape is amazing. You know, I think that in my darkest moments, it's easy to want to give up, throw in the towel, be like, you know, what good is an old town that got given up on anyways? But I think it's kind of like up to us to find our own purpose in what we're doing and our own meaning in life. And I think for me, that has been Cerro Gordo, and that will continue to be Cerro Gordo. And this is kind of like a living testament to it. I am fully aware that there's still a lot of work to do, but it's progress, and progress is always very exciting up here. And I think I've been very motivated by that and all the other progress going on all around the town, including right over there, where if you look, you will see the hunter's cabin, where we are soon to put a recording studio. So we will head over there next and get some updates from that. All right, now we're over to the Hunter cabin, which was originally built in the 1870s by a guy named William Hunter, who owned a neighboring mine to Cerro Gordo. And this is the cabin that we are going to focus on turning into a recording studio. I just went to Washington about a month ago to get a lot of beautiful wood that we're going to use inside of here. And so let's go inside, see what's going on, and then I'll show you the layout of the studio a little bit. What have you been up to in here, Olmo?
All right, well, I took everything down to the bones. Yep. And, you know, tried to give pause to realize that a lot of the work was done in a time of being very cold with no materials. You know, I'm really excited to get a chance to work with lumber, so I'm working as fast as I can to get this insulated and sealed so that I can start using the beautiful cedar.
Yeah, absolutely. For everybody watching, this is going to kind of be the live room where there's going to be, you know, some equipment out here to record different instruments and stuff. This is a bedroom, but this will turn into almost the control room, where back in here, it's a little bit of a mess now, but there'll be a kind of a mixer here, and then downstairs will kind of be like an isolation room for the drum set. It's our storage at the moment, but I'll give you guys a quick look just so you can see. Down here is where all the drumming will happen. So a lot of exciting things happening in the studio. A lot thanks to Olmo, so stay tuned, and we're going to have a lot of updates in this cabin over the next couple weeks. So another thing I've been working on a lot this month is the mines, exploring the mines, but also bringing power and communications 900 feet down to the bottom of the cage here in the hoist house. And we're doing that because for the longest time, we thought the 900 level was pretty much as far as it went. But we recently found some documents that show that there's 5 levels below the 900 foot level here. You know, these are all behind collapses. And if we get past these collapses, we should be able to get to where there's an entrance to these lower levels. And so if we're going to spend a lot of time down at the 900 foot level, I wanted to bring power and communications. And so a little bit ago, my friend Craig came, we ran power all the way down to the 900 foot level. And today we're going to run internet all the way down to the 900 foot level of the Union Mine. Our internet comes into the hillside over there. It's redirected from Lone Pine to Keeler to that hillside. We're then going to redirect that signal to the hoist house. It is then going to get transformed back into Ethernet, then to coax. It's going to go all the way down 900 feet, and we have Wi-Fi down at 900 foot level. That is the plan today. So we are headed 900 feet down. It's going to be a historic exploration when we start doing that. We're going to need some very capable people to be down there 900 feet, but I'm really excited about it, and Tim's going with me.
Hello.
All right, we're headed down. That to bring communication.
I want to go down now.
All right, you got it.
You do remember we want to stop every like 10, 15 feet.
Take care of the cats. All right, go. Stop.
Stop.
All right, so we're back down to the 900. The internet cable made it down. Now we might do a little quest back to the clap, see if we can move rocks with some rope and maybe some blasters that I have.
When you order your element online, it comes in a box like this to your door.
Was that down here?
It was down here.
Drinkelement.com/Brent.
I do love element.
All right, back in the 900, and we are headed to the north right now. So I'll be going towards what would be the Union Chimney. And this is the area where down this at the end, there's a collapse, but on the map showed connected to the lower levels that we're after. Some great carbide graffiti down here. All right, so this is back to the collapse. As you can see, really hairy, really sketchy, not what you want to see, but this should continue through to the other side. It's just, you know, obviously moving anything has the potential for big problems, but those big rocks up there, we can get some of those coming down. Might be interesting. See the very top, there's that rock up there? I was thinking if we like put a rope around that one and pulled it down from back here or something.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that you can get like up and over it eventually.
Yeah.
There's like timber's like broken there too.
Yeah. Cathedral shape.
Whoa! Real big rock just fell.
Nice.
Whoa. They almost like they were purposely put this way. So I wonder if like it snakes around this way or some shit.
Oh, there's a tunnel like left.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's what I'm wondering. Because they're like, or they're up here and they just got perfectly collapsed further down, but they're, hold on. Ooh, that's gonna go. You can take a look.
You just said it was.
What? It's about to go?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's about to go.
Yeah, sick.
Take a look.
Just stick my head in there. The helmet's wearing me for protection.
Yeah.
Oh, sweet.
That's cool.
Why don't we figure out where it goes out on the mountain
Yeah.
and try and come in?
Yeah, that's cool. All right, so even 900 feet underground, Element is everywhere that I go. They're the sponsor of this week's video, and I take this literally everywhere, as you can tell. For anybody watching, they're offering a special. You just go to drinkelement.com/Brent, so drinklmnt.com/Brent. They're giving an 8 sample pack away for free. You know, on these crazy adventures, I used to get really bad headaches, you know, used to get really dehydrated. And now I have come to bring it with me or leave it behind pretty much everywhere I go, even down here at the 900 level of Sarah Lord's mine. Hope you check it out, drinkelement.com/Brent. It's good stuff. All right, so we dug into this for a while. There's a lot of timbering up to the left, almost like it goes up and then back, but you have the track here. So, you're gonna need more tools, more people, more things, but made a decent way back. Saw some promising stuff. Found this sign over here. It's really interesting, this way out. So So that would show that maybe that's leading out to the Union chimney, as I was discussing. And the track would mean that, you know, they weren't serious about this area. And so to get through that might lead to those other levels down.
You got some of that element, Brent?
Yes, sir. Got it with me always.
Thank you.
When you're stuck on the cage, element. All right, so just like that, I am one step closer to having my base camp down there. We now have the internet cable down. We now have a couple more things to do, but 900 feet down is gonna be one of the most comfortable places. I'm thinking big screen TV, you know, whole sorts of things. Internet power, all in an unsafe mine. As Tim and I got back to the collapse, you know, I kept digging, and over my left shoulder there was timbering. So I couldn't quite shake the feeling that there was something going on this way or above. And after I came back up, I reviewed the map and I realized I had come to a 308 intersection. You know, I love the feeling of coming back up, cross-referencing it to the map and knowing where I was. And at this point, there's about 60 feet left between where we got to and where the winds is that accesses all of these next 5 levels of the mine. It could be 60 feet of collapse. It could be 2 more feet of collapse and open up all the way to the winds. But we're gonna get there. Whatever's down there is gonna be very interesting. It's gonna be very historic. It's gonna be adding to the history here. So stay tuned, a lot more going on with the expedition deeper into the Cerro Gordo mine. Another thing I was able to do this month that I think just gave me a huge appreciation for everything that happened here in the past was to go underground hard rock mining. And this time I was looking for gold. My friend Jason has a mine up in Washington, and so he invited me up to get the wood you see behind me, but also to go gold mining in his mine that he's recently opened up. I ended up with this, 10 grams of pure gold, the process of which is not very easy, but one that I now just appreciate so much more after the time up there. Jason owns Mount Baker Mining up in Washington, and we met a couple years ago because I was trying to refine the ore here at Cerro Gordo, the galena, which is lead and silver, and Jason seemed like the guy. You know, so a couple years ago, we refined 100 pounds of ore out of the Union mine here, made it into some silver, and became pretty good friends in the process. And a couple months ago, he was like, listen, you know, if you want to make your way up to Washington, I'd love you to take you into this gold mine that I'm reopening from the 1890s. You know, and so Jason offered me to bring me underground. You know, we were gonna go mucking, we were gonna refine some of the ore, and just get a better sense of underground mining. And so the mine itself is just set in these dramatic mountains with streams going through it that I never see around here. You know, huge trees that Washington's known for. And eventually you get to the place where there's 3 little portals that show Jason's mine. And I was stoked. You know, I was very excited to go in, learn about it, and just experience a little bit of what underground mining would be like.
Hi, my name's Harry from Mine Operator. I'm up here working with Jason from Mount Baker Mining and Metals, and we're up here showing these guys around.
Here we go. We're going in the lower haulage adit here. I don't know how well you'll be able to hear me, but I'll do my best.
So Jason and Harry's main goal this year was just to rehab the mine. You know, get new timbering in place, get some of the ore chutes in place, do a little bit of mucking, get the process down, so next year they can have a big season.
It takes a lot of wood to go mining. I found that out. I was amazed at how much wood we've put into this mine, but you just use it for everything. Ladders, lagging, stalls, support. We've used a lot of wood. So we had to build this sucker, and it was a chore. And it took a lot of wood. It took us, Harry, you remember 4 days? 4 or 5 days.
The total work? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it took us to build this. And we ran out of wood, so I had to go cut down some more trees and build up some more wood, but we finally got it. The ladder goes up about 50 feet. I think there's 53 steps, and they're 12 inches apart. So there's a ladder on one side, there's a chute on the other, and then a kind of a little wall rail in between.
You know, I was looking at these ladders that Jason and Harry had built, and they just looked like back-breaking work. And it just made me fully appreciate all of the timbering and stuff that I see down here in the Cerro Gordo mines.
Yeah, this was a real engineering feat here because there's nothing square, there's nothing, no standard distance or anything. We were just wedging stalls in and then lagging ladders to them. This is the spot where they mined down the vein, and that's called the winds. But this is kind of a unique place in the whole mining district, because this is the only place anywhere in the district where someone died. And it ended up being a murder. The story is they left 2 guys over the winter to protect the mine from vandals or claim jumpers or whatever. And the deal was that they could take as much gold as they wanted or as they could find to stay over winter and protect the mine. And when they came back in the spring, they only found 1 guy. He had a bunch of gold, and he said the other guy had gone out hunting a week or 2 ago and never came back. So they sent out a search party, looked for him. They never did find him. So they thought, well, we'll come back and start mining. When they were pumping out this winds, they found that guy's body at the bottom of the winds with a big rock tied around his neck. And the other guy with all the gold had taken off and was long gone. So that's the only death ever recorded in the mining district. Got murdered, and this was his burial site. So this is our working phase here behind me. And we're in this big open room, and the vein outcrops all the way around. And the miners left this not because it didn't have any gold in it, but they left it because they had built 2 or 3 different mills outside to mill the ore and get the gold out. But because we have such high snow loads in the winter here, their mill kept getting wiped out by avalanches year after year. So the mine had closed down, and there were some spots back here that were running 2 and 3 and 4 ounces a ton. So we're gonna work back here today, but we did a blast along this wall a couple days ago. We've got a huge pile of muck. So after we're done picking and looking for gold, we're gonna do a little bit of muck, and we're gonna work on getting some muck out to the truck. Okay, let's find some gold.
Let's find some gold.
Let's find some gold.
Find some gold.
That's the thing, you don't want to blast it all over the stope and lose it. There's a little piece of gold there. A little piece of gold there. Little baby pieces.
Well, that's a start.
Yeah.
Oh wow, yeah, I can see that.
Oh yeah, see? There it is, right there, sticking on the wall.
That's what we need. So after we went mining and we chipped out some gold, it was time to muck. And mucking, in this case, is to take the loose rock, that's in front of the face that you're mining, and to remove it. Maybe to refine it, maybe just to discard it. In this case, we're gonna refine it. And I knew that mucking was pretty low on the totem pole of mining jobs, and I can kind of understand why now. You basically hunch over, you fill up a bag full of rocks. Jason and Harriet constructed this cart that sits on old rails. You put the bag onto the cart, you push it over, you then send it down some chutes, and it takes just a very long time after you actually chip out the gold to get it out of the mine. It might seem really basic, but I think while doing that, everything started to click. The mine tracks that I see, the ore chutes, it's all in an attempt to get this relatively heavy material out the whole way. And so it's kind of fun to pack up the bag, put it onto the cart, push the cart over, throw an ore bag down an ore chute, all in the attempts just to get these rocks out of the mine. And finally we did. We took about, I think, 5 or 6 bags out of the mine. And from there we put them in Jason's truck.
So at the end of the season, my goal is to pour a 10-ounce bar.
Wow.
That's what I want.
That'd be
I want a
sweet.
10-ounce gold bar at the end of the season.
Well, it
Yeah.
seems hard even today, so I can't imagine how hard it was when they were up here in the 1800s.
Oh yeah, yeah. Everything was by hand. They didn't have sandbags. I don't know if they had buckets even.
Yeah.
They were just shoveling from one guy to the next into the ore cart, and it was, the ore cart came down the track and it dumped, and then someone had to shovel it into another ore cart, and then down and dumped. And
So we got all the ore back to Jason's shop, and I remember it was getting pretty late. It had been a long day mining, and we were all a little bit tired. But then it was really cool. Then I got to learn about the process of refining the gold itself. Jason manufactures and sells a lot of shaker tables. There's actually a homemade shaker table just over my shoulder here. And a shaker table basically shakes the ore after it's ground up, and gold is very dense, it's very heavy, so it kind of floats to this certain part of the table, floats over into this river, and goes into this bucket where it's all collected. And these tables have been around since like the 1890s, so it's just interesting to think about how long humans have just been on this pursuit of gold. And so after a little bit of shaking table, we took the high quality ore, the ore that we'd actually taken out of the wall that day, crushed it up, then put it into a mill to make it basically into a fine sand. And then Jason taught me how to pan.
And there you can see the gold in it.
Gold.
Very, very fine. So it's not a bunch of nuggets. It's very small gold. But when there's a bunch of it, it really adds up.
Yeah.
So now I've got to pan out the rest of that. I'll just keep this in the pan. I'll just shovel more in and we'll just fill it up with gold.
All right.
And then we can get it smelted into a bead for you.
You know, and I have seen gold panning obviously in movies, TV shows, all sorts of things for years. I thought it was just swirling around. And I can see again why gold is so valuable. You know, people spend an entire day sitting by the riverbed, just panning all day just to get tiny flecks and tiny flecks and tiny flecks. At the very end, you know, you bring up the pan and you see kind of almost this like half rainbow of gold.
So I've got our gold sucked up in our snuffer bottle here. And I can just kind of leak it out into our blue towel here. And it acts kind of like a coffee filter. So there's some nice gold there. There's a lot of gold in there. And so this whole process is going to remove all the base metals. So any copper that's in there, any iron that's in there, bismuth, lead, all that is going to go away. There's our bismuth at the very bottom, right on top of our gold. So now I can take our rag. All our gold and goodies are down at the bottom here. That rag is evaporating and it will slowly, well, quickly burn off.
And in the end, after all of that, I ended up with this, a 10-gram bead of pure gold. This was extremely rich ore. You know, I think it was something like $4,000 or $5,000 a ton, and it was just an amazing haul. And it was also very generous of Jason to allow me to walk away with this, because I think this little bead, you know, as small as you can see, is worth something like $600 or $700 worth of gold in this tiny, tiny little thing that you see in front of you, which is incredible to think about. And now I have to think about what I'm going to do with it. If you guys have any ideas, I would love to hear, because this is pure gold from Jason's mine that I helped mine that is now back here at Cerro Gordo. But I also just want to say a huge thank you to Jason. You know, he was extremely generous with his time, with his gold, with his wood. You know, behind me, I don't know if you can see, but all of the cedar that I cut down when I was up there with Jason and we milled is behind me. And all of that is going into the recording studio very soon. You know, I don't think that I'll walk through the tunnels again and not look at the timbering and think that was a huge pain to create. And so it was a really cool experience. And I'm just really excited that I got to know Jason all these years ago and that we continue to figure out things to do in the years to come. And this is something that I am very excited about this month. This has to do with the history here at Cerro Gordo. But that history is something that I work on every month, you know, every day really, is just trying to put together the puzzle pieces that is this town's past. And I think that by doing that, it just makes my time here feel more important. And I feel really fortunate because people that watch this channel have sent in all sorts of things that I don't think ever would have been accumulated otherwise. You know, I've gotten journals from families whose relatives worked here back in the day. I've got artifacts sent back to me that have been taken away for a long time. Newspaper articles sent to me about this town's past. And I think that together, you know, with everybody that watches this channel, we've put together the clearest picture of Cerro Gordo's past that's ever been assembled. You know, the county that Cerro Gordo's in, Inyo County, wasn't even established until a year after the town in 1866. And they didn't even have a courthouse or kind of a central meeting place for all these documents until 1869. And then that courthouse got knocked down in an earthquake in 1872 and all of the records were lost. And then in 1873 they rebuilt it, only to have it burned down in a fire in 1886. And so this history of Cerro Gordo has been a mixture of newspaper articles, you know, stories, and just pictures, which we have very few of. But this month, I got something very special. This is a record of all of the mining claims in Inyo County and the Cerro Gordo mining district from 1874. And the fact that it survived is a blessing. It wasn't terribly cheap, but this is something that I think will send me down lots of other rabbit holes. So this is supposed to be the mining claims of the Cerro Gordo mining district as of 1874. I'm quite nervous actually because this is potentially the rarest document I've had up here. And I hope that by doing this, we uncover some new pieces of Cerro Gordo's past and can kind of go on some new adventures as well.
Whoa.
So I'm looking through this book, and I always say that each new piece of information helps put together the puzzle that is Cerro Gordo's past. And I think this just showed another piece of that puzzle. So you look at this on page 43, and you look right here, it says, well notice, Beaudry. And over here, there's many more water claims, but this one, well noticed Beaudry, is very interesting because a while back we came across a prospectus that describes Beaudry's well here at Cerro Gordo. And obviously water is the missing puzzle piece of all puzzle pieces as far as Cerro Gordo's past. You know, finding water here permanently would just be the solution and fundamentally change this town forever. And so we're triangulating about where we think this well is. We've used this old prospectus. We had a hydrogeologist come out, and this is now just another piece of information that I can hopefully use using these leaps and bounds that they have over here to find where this old well was and potentially drill a new well.
All right, I made it through every page, and I think I have a couple dozen new leads to chase down, a couple dozen beautiful names I want to put in action somewhere. You know, whether it's a cabin or a new claim or just an area of the property, there's just some amazing names in it. And I'm just really fortunate to have it. You know, I think a lot of these records were lost in that earthquake, were lost in the fire, and it kind of shows the importance of record keeping. So I felt really fortunate over the last couple of years to be able to make these videos, you know, to capture what's happening here. So in the future, we're not piecing it together from fragmented bits from here and there. You know, obviously not everything can make it into these videos, but I do my best to capture it, whether it's just privately or on the videos, which leads me to a very exciting announcement about capturing my experience here. Something that I've been working on for a very long time, something that includes a lot of things that were not included in the videos. And that is this. I wrote a book. This is something that I've been working on for the past year or so. You know, I've been spending a lot of late nights just sitting in my cabin, recounting the highs and lows of this experience, you know, thinking about the beauty that's all around me, thinking about the storied history here, you know, the people that have come into my life, the new skills that I've been forced to learn, and kind of how all of that set me on what I think is like my life's task. I work with authors in my day job almost every day. I've wanted to write a book for a very long time. I just never thought that I had anything to say. And so I think now, after 3.5 years being up here, there's obviously been a lot of change, both for myself and the town and my mentality and everything else. And so getting this for the first time, holding it in my hands, is just really impactful to me. It was a lot of work. It was one of the more hard things I've ever done, and your support of it would mean a lot. You know, if you've gotten anything out of this channel, whether it was back in the pandemic or even now, I really hope you consider pre-ordering it. You know, if you go to Amazon, Barnes & Noble even has some signed copies, Books A Million, IndieBound, all the indie retailers. And if you pre-order this thing, I want to send you something special. You know, all you have to do is take your receipt, forward it to Brent@cerrogordomines.com, so my email. I'm gonna send you something special. You know, I've put pretty much everything into this thing. You know, if you enjoy this channel, I think you're gonna love the book. I was able to get much deeper with a lot of thoughts and ideas and like philosophy towards a lot of these things. I was able to dive into the history of Cerro Gordo in a way that I never could in these videos. And so if you like these, I think you're gonna absolutely love this. And if you're able to support it, it would just mean the world. Let's get back to everything else happening around here over the past month or so. Of course, no monthly update would be complete without a check-in on the animals. I just gave them a little bit of food, so they're probably happy. We got the chickens, we got the goats, we got everyone in town. Look, everyone's happy. Woo! Hello guys! Hello guys! It is an absolute treat having them. Tofu, the goat, back in the back. Alpacas. Everybody is happy, everyone's friendly. It's warm, and we are all doing pretty good. Tofu, you got a passenger. This month the weather finally seemed to cooperate, and we're able to do a big push to get a bunch of projects done before the winter hits. It seemed like every week we were getting more done than we did in previous months combined. And it was just relieving to be able to focus at the tasks at hand and not exterior factors like floods. We made progress on the big projects, but also a dozen smaller projects, all of which needed to be done. Everything from winterizing the animal pens, to getting firewood ready, to moving in a new piano. And it felt really good just to be prepared. And we're gonna keep pushing as long as the weather's good. And at this pace, we're gonna get a lot more done before the winter time. And now we walk. And after that long journey, far past when all the other footprints stopped, we are here at my destination. A canyon that I come to maybe once a year at big moments to just stop and think about the story that I'm leaving behind. Because this canyon is very important, because there was a population over 10,000 years ago that used to come to this canyon to hunt. And when they left their own stories in the form of petroglyphs all over the rocks behind me. So little carvings that were chipped away out of the rock that remain behind over 10,000 years later. Nobody knows exactly why they left these markings behind, but they're obviously trying to tell a story. And the age of this story is anywhere from 10,000 years to up to 16,000 years. I've seen some estimates. So there's something almost religious about being around markings that are that old. You know, thinking about the people that used to use this canyon as their hunting ground, you know, to hunt bighorn sheep or other things out here. And it means a lot. You know, it's something that I keep pretty dear and close to the heart. And so we're gonna go back, look at some of these things, and just think about all of the stories that are told and maybe what they were trying to say by leaving these pictures behind. There's a lot of debate on why these pictures were left behind. You can see some faint outlines up here, some different symbols, and there's often animals depicted in these, but sometimes, like you see here, it's just a series of geometric shapes, whether it's lines and circles. And the two biggest theories seem to be that one is kind of remembering the animals that they killed. So a lot of times how the hunt would happen is people would be up on the cliff, you know, there would be the bighorn sheep or other animals down there, and they would hunt from above, and for every animal killed, you know, they were depicted in the rock behind them almost as an act of good luck, you know, so their next hunt is prosperous as well. Another theory seems to be that these are symbols from shamans, you know, back in the day, that could have been under the influence of some type of, you know, hallucinogenic or something similar to that. And this is some type of effort to either bring rain or a good hunt or something to that effect. I think all of the theories go under that, you know, it's all storytelling in some way. And so what stories they're trying to leave behind and why, you know, is going to be debated for a long time, given the fact that, you know, it's been at least 10,000 years since some of these have been done. But there's something very beautiful that they're still here. You can even see little potential remnants of what could be stick figures of humans. And there's actually over 20,000 of these in the area that are documented. And every time I go to them, I feel like I'm almost on like hollow ground. You know, that there's such a deep meaning here, mystery as well. Oh, there is something very humbling about being in a place like this. You know, far removed from everything, around drawings that were made at least 10,000 years ago on rocks that are way older than that have stood here after generation after generation after generation, unwavering, uncaring in some ways of people's anxieties and insecurities and hopes and dreams. I think that's really freeing. You know, it's freeing that sometimes I at least get so wrapped up in, you know, what I'm doing day over day. How is that perceived day over day? You know, I think that if I can remind myself that on a long enough timeline, things are going to work out, that's very relieving on this day-to-day anxiety and stress that seems to kind of overwhelm sometimes. So I'm really excited to be here. You know, I come here about once a year. This month I came feeling very relieved, very connected, I think, to the lineage of the past and of the future. And I think there's something very spiritual about a place like this that's even allowing me not to fully put together my thoughts. But one thought that I am certain of is thought of gratitude. This month, seeing the hotel kind of take form, to be able to walk through the 2 floors of it was beautiful. It's been a very long journey to get here. Not in the timeline of rocks for 16,000 years, which I'm trying to remind myself now. You know, that the story of Cerro Gordo is far from done, and if I can just put my small fingerprint on it, getting a hotel back up, some other things, that's pretty cool. So with that, I just want to say thank you guys so much. You know, that hotel coming to life wouldn't have been possible without all you guys, your encouragement, your support in a lot of different ways. I just want to say thank you, as always, for checking out these videos. I hope you guys have your own dreams, your own ambitions, and a reminder that on a long enough timeline, none of the things that are probably stressing you out right now matter too much. So I'm going to sit here, watch the sun go down a little bit more, and hightail it back home. But I hope you guys have a great week. I want to thank you guys so much for checking out this video, and I'll see you guys next time. you.